Start them up. Bang, bang. And media player on go.
As far as the UFC controversy, just round people up at the behest of ICE. Do you see what the Eagles is doing? Talking about how we needed to remain in Jurassic Park. I mean, they have break battles and car shows and now we're working on our next podcast. Right, Terry. The building destroyed on record that I was the first one to record Darnell. I'm not everybody in their mama. We need it. I know, before.
Yes, indeed, folks. We are back at it again. It's the Build and Destroy show. Every Sunday we go live around 5. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. It don't cost you nothing. We are here with, of course, High Rise, May Dolly, Wicked Meticulous. And we do have a special guest. You can see that person on your screen. And High Rise will introduce you to who that person is.
Yeah. We got E-Tree lurking in the background too.
Yes.
Yeah. But we have John Retherford, aka Budaho, who is a Tacoma-based movie director and hip-hop producer. And he is an academic and an activist and a photographer as well. And we have him on here to promote and discuss the new movie that AWOL, aka Two Piece from Build and Destroy, was in. And it was also shot and filmed, at least partially, on the Joel Tree Farm, which belongs to Chandra Marquez, my wife, and her family. So we're all connected here. And Budaho has produced music and shot videos for Wicked, myself, and Build and Destroy.
Welcome.
Give it up, y'all.
Welcome.
How's it going, guys?
Yeah, and how we do is we just go around the horn, John, and we just sort of take turns. We might ask you about movies. We might ask you about music. We might ask you about Tacoma. You'll just get it all.
Sure.
And since I'm talking, I'll just start off with the first question. And while we got everybody's attention, why don't you talk about the movie, the title, and a quick rundown, and maybe where it's possibly being able to be seen, hopefully in the future, something like that.
Okay. Yeah. Cool. So I've been working on this movie called S86 for the last couple of years. Kind of a horror movie, all locally produced. It's me and a few other friends of mine started a production company a couple of years ago called 5J Films, and it started out as kind of a short film, but then it grew into a whole feature-length film, and finally got that finished up into December, and did like a kind of theatrical premiere for the cast and crew and friends and family and stuff. Now we're kind of working on distribution and how to get it out so everyone can watch it. But yeah, it's been a fun project for kind of taking up all of my time for the last 2 years. It seems like I've done almost nothing else, but it was a lot of fun though. It's kind of first feature film we've made, and it was kind of cool working on something of that scope and size. But
Man, do your eyes ever shut off? Being photographer and visual arts oriented, is everything work to you, looking through your eyes? Are you always looking for shots or scenes for future reference? Or is there a time where you can actually turn your eyes off?
no, there's definitely some of that. It is hard to turn off. Pretty much any time I'm watching a movie these days, I'm always kind of breaking it down and looking at like how they might have done this shot or pulled off that effect, or all sorts of different ways of analyzing it. But yeah, it's hard to turn it off and just enjoy it sometimes.
Yeah, I was wondering that.
Yeah, whenever I'm out for hiking or that kind of stuff too, I'm always just stopping to look at every little flower, insect, or bird or whatever. Like that'd be a cool photo, even if I don't got my camera with me. But yeah.
Well, I know you're multi-talented. And I know that your sister is a gifted artist as well. Is that something that comes down in your family? And, is that just you guys just turned out to be two artistic siblings?
Yeah, I think there's always been some kind of family orientation towards the arts. My mom's always kind of been into painting and drawing and that kind of stuff. And actually kind of taught some painting classes and that kind of stuff. But I think for me, it's always been a little more that like photography side of artisticness and stuff. I've never really been real good at like sketching or painting or drawing and that kind of stuff. But the kind of composition side of things and figuring out how to make a good image using a camera and that kind of stuff's always appealed to me though. Kind of been doing photography and that kind of stuff for maybe 25 years now or so. And started off actually doing videography and then got into more still photography from there. And then kind of moved back more into cinematography from doing photography. Actually started off more with like documentary kind of filmmaking, but then more recently I've gotten into kind of the storytelling and narrative side of things a little bit more and working on some short films and then this feature film. But yeah, I kind of started off more with like a journalistic, like documentary style of filmmaking more, and worked on a few different short and feature length documentaries, and um, done a lot of more like community journalism kind of videography or like documenting protests and interviewing people, events and protests and activists and things like that. But um, yeah, this kind of new to me getting more into like the storytelling side of videography and filmmaking, but it's pretty fun. I like it. It's kind of a more creative side of it rather than trying to get facts out there and kind of trying to tell an entertaining story. But it's also still kind of storytelling and how you're trying to convey a certain viewpoint and stuff, whether you're conveying facts or something fictional. Like a lot of the same tools and techniques apply. It seems like it's just how you apply them. But on this feature film that we did, I was the cinematographer, so kind of director of photography, and was basically kind of in charge of the camera department. So planned a lot of the like camera angles and camera movements and what lenses to use and where lights got put, all that kind of stuff. And then kind of work with the director carefully to achieve the vision that he's got for each scene and shot. But so kind of applied a lot of the same photography skills that I've used on other stuff, just more to how to portray the story in the best light and kind of thing. But then I was also doing a lot of the visual effects work in post, so I'm kind of working in After Effects and the computer generated graphics and stuff to add a bunch onto the scenes that we shot. So that was kind of fun too.
Well, I kind of got the feeling that, you know, Build and Destroy was able to attend the premiere of S86 at, is that right? S86?
Yeah.
Did I say that correct? At the Crocodile.
Yeah, you guys had a pretty good turnout there.
Yeah, and it was really fun and had a really cool feeling to it. Sort of, I likened it to, sort of an underground hip hop family community feeling where, there's a community of artists that are locally based and they're talented and they're supporting each other and working together, and maybe one of them, it's time for their big album release or moment, and the rest of the community kind of comes out and celebrates as peers and friends. And is there some similarities to the underground movie scene and the underground hip hop scene at all? Are they comparable?
Yeah, I think you could definitely draw some comparisons there. They're like both pretty kind of tight knit local communities of artists, different kind of art, but it, the way you kind of network with people that are doing similar stuff to you and kind of collaborate on different projects and that kind of thing is pretty similar. I think because this was not a public premiere, it was more for cast and crew and friends and family and stuff. You got that vibe kind of amplified because everybody did know each other, and it was kind of like a bunch of friends getting back together to see the final result of this thing that we were all collaborating on. But we probably had like 50 people or so work on the project altogether. Um, there was probably like a dozen of us that were really heavily involved in it throughout the whole thing. But if you count everybody who worked on it, it was probably a little bit over 50 people or so. So you get them plus two or three friends they all bring and that kind of thing. And you fill up a theater for a couple of shows pretty quick. But because it is kind of everybody who knows each other and are friends and stuff, you definitely get that vibe at the show of a pretty tight knit community. And yeah, I think the local movie scene in general though is just kind of like that. You get a lot of people who know each other and have worked on projects in the past together here and there. And it's kind of weird how one project, like, you'll get all of these different kind of subsections of the community that get linked by it. And it's kind of like that. I don't know, what do you call it? That degrees of Kevin Bacon game or whatever, where like everybody knows everybody through somebody else and just like one or two links. It kind of feels that way in the local filmmaking community a lot, where like you might not have worked with this person directly, but almost everybody in the Northwest who does filmmaking, you probably know somebody who knows somebody who's worked with them. And yeah, somewhere along the line we're all linked together, it feels like.
You said you're a music producer too, yeah?
Yeah, I kind of
Because
set it aside for the last couple of years. I've been so busy with the filmmaking stuff that I haven't had much time for anything else, it feels like. But now that we've kind of wrapped this up, though, I'm kind of trying to get back into it a little bit more. Been
yeah, I was gonna ask, does some of that music make it onto your video projects?
um, not into this last one. Um, our editor and director Jay Lee, he's kind of started off as a music producer and recording engineer, and he had to do pretty much all the sound design and scoring for the S86 movie. Just kind of did it all in house as he was working on editing it. And yeah, I think it turned out awesome. Really did a great job on the soundtrack and stuff, but didn't really have a whole lot of time to collaborate on much of the music though on it for this particular one. But
Let's see.
yeah, it'd be cool to get some of it integrated into a score. I've kind of, as I've seen the filmmaking side of things and done production on music projects, I thought it would be pretty cool to kind of score a movie project and work on that side of it. It's kind of a different type of music. Like you want it to not stand out as much as kind of blend in and just convey the mood of the project you're working on. So it feels kind of like different than when you're making music that's to stand all on its own. Like you almost want it to kind of blend in and not be the forefront when you're doing it on a movie. It seems like where you want it to kind of stand out and capture people's attention all on its own when you're making just music for yourself. Um, but yeah, kind of similar though.
Yeah, it
And
seems like those worlds are bound to collide, right? For you. You
yeah,
make music and you do the film stuff, so why not?
right. Yeah, I've got the tools for all of it, and they apply the same way. So it definitely could do it. It's kind of on the agenda of something I'd like to do, but haven't done a whole lot of it yet for something like a feature film length. I've made music for like a few videos and um, like shorter length kind of videos where it's just background music more or something, but it's a little different when it's for something cinema, like a movie style. But yeah, definitely be something that'd be fun to work on. I'd like to do some more of that, but keep an eye out on one of the next projects and see if I can get more involved on that side of it. since we finished this one up, it seems like we've got a whole bunch of projects, kind of leads on projects at least, that we might try and work on next, but not quite sure what we're going to prioritize though.
You can have half my sandwich.
Well, look, we're definitely, as a crew, interested in, and I know for sure AWOL, because I talked with him about this, on developing a script for us to be the actors in it, whether it's loosely based on us as a group, or if we create, fictional characters. But that is something that we definitely want to achieve as part of the conglomerate of artwork that we produce. My question, I guess, for you next is just about the nature photography, because you definitely have an eye for capturing things. I think outside of, you got a wide swath of things in what can be deemed nature photography. So I guess my question is, how did you get into it, and what in that broad spectrum category is your favorite to kind of capture? Because you do animals, close-ups, the stars joints is real unique and fascinating. That's probably my favorite to look at. So what about, how did you get into it, and what's your favorite?
I've always kind of been into the outdoors and like nature and hiking and that kind of stuff. Like, I think from when I was like a toddler or something, aunts and uncles and parents would take me on hiking trips and stuff like that. And I always loved camping and that kind of thing. So I think just kind of being out in nature and seeing wildlife and just kind of natural plants and trees and mountains and all that kind of stuff's always just fascinated me. Like, something about it, just a kind of peaceful, beautiful scenery always just kind of puts me at ease and makes me just kind of feel like I'm in a natural place. But it's hard to pick a favorite though. Like, I love all the different styles I do. I think probably my focus is on nature photography has been a mix between like landscapes, like animal, wildlife kind of photography, and like close-up macro kind of photography of like insects and flowers and stuff like that. And then kind of within the landscape stuff, the night sky, star, astrophotography stuff, like kind of put that in a similar category. It's just at night instead of in the day. But yeah, it's hard to pick a favorite between all of those. I love all of them for different reasons, kind of, but they all kind of just make me feel closer to the natural environment that I'm in, I think, and kind of help me appreciate it in different ways. Kind of the eye you have to kind of develop to do photography. Like, I feel like you kind of develop the ability to see things that would be like obscured otherwise, or that you don't notice in everyday. Like, you might walk through a field or something that you see 100 times, but when you see like a flower or an insect that's in that field super close up, you can kind of see the details on it and how fascinating that thing that you probably walked by 1,000 times is, and like appreciate it in a way that you don't when you're just walking about your daily life. Kind of makes you slow down and stop and look at just how intricate and fascinating every little aspect of the world around us is if you just stop and pay attention to it. Where we're all busy and walking around normally, and just all these things passes right by and we don't pay any attention to it. But when you stop and look closely, everything from a little petal on a flower to the cosmos are all like fascinating things that if you just watch it and give it the respect to kind of look at it and appreciate it, there's all sorts of beautiful and fascinating aspects to every piece of it. And I think you can do that at any kind of scale and for any type of photography. You can kind of notice the details that make this thing stand out and be more beautiful. whether it's something tiny that just so small that you never saw it, or something so huge that it was just too big for you to notice or something. You can kind of stop and appreciate all those. And what style of photography it is just kind of is more of the tools that you might use to capture stuff at that particular scale. Like, you might need different equipment or tools to see the stars at night and capture that on a camera than to zoom in super close on a insect that's the size of a grain of sand. But they're both still kind of just appreciating the nuances and the details to it, what's around us, I think. And even when I'm not doing photography in particular, I've found the kind of eye and the skill set that I've developed doing photography. Like you were saying earlier, it's hard to turn it off. Even just kind of walking around now, I'll notice all these little things that I probably would have passed by without ever noticing if I hadn't seen before how cool it was.
Did you or any of your friends catch the Northern Lights?
Yeah,
It was visible out that way.
yeah, I think not like super recently, but last summer there were a few times when there was a big magnetic storm that I got a few videos and pictures of. That, yeah, those turned out really cool. Been something I wanted to see for a long time, but like, yeah, usually don't get enough of it this far south. But yeah, it seems like I think we're in like a solar maximum or something where the sun's more active than it usually is, and
Yeah.
yeah, I've been getting them more frequently down here. It seems like over the last year.
Yeah.
Kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
There's one I didn't even realize we were going to be getting a solar storm, but a few months before, some friends of mine had planned a camping trip and invited me out to it, and I'd just gone to it and brought my camera and stuff along, figuring we were out in the middle of nowhere. It'd be kind of cool to get some pictures and stuff. But ended up being one of the biggest magnetic storms that we'd had, and yeah, the northern lights were just taking up the entire sky and stuff. I think I stayed up the entire night until the sun rose and was just staring up at them. And yeah, I had 2 or 3 different cameras going, some doing video and some doing stills and stuff, trying to capture them in different ways. But largely, I just kind of lay there and watched the lights flicker around and just blow across the sky. Yeah, you see those much or?
On the S86 movie's got a pretty interesting sort of premise, you know, and they got like the whole sort of pharmaceutical industry on blast, and sort of like with the street drugs, and sort of like how there was that weird, the whole crate, like the Miami, like the flock. I forget what. Yeah, yeah, and then the fentanyl now, and it's just a very modern day relevant story. Did you want to talk about the overview of the plot, how y'all came up with that and stuff at all?
Yeah, that was definitely intentional. I think our producer Johnny Criscione was kind of wrote the story and brought us all together to kind of work on making the movie about it. And I think that was definitely one of his like influences, was the this kind of trends with fentanyl and drugs in the U.S. right now, and how the pharmaceutical industry is tied into all of that, and like making things that they know are harmful and poisonous and putting them out anyways because they'll make them a lot of money. Like we're trying to draw some kind of highlight to that. It's not, the movie is not directly about that. It's more about some crazy experimental drug that they're developing to make like super soldier kind of things, but that makes the super soldiers kind of psycho and crazy and turn on the people that made it, kind of. But yeah, it was kind of meant to be something that was like as addictive as fentanyl, but as crazy as the bath salts kind of stuff that was named Flocka. And, yeah, kind of trying to use the addictive side of the drug to both make a super soldier, but that's controllable through the addictiveness kind of thing, which kind of plays into just how they try to use that addictiveness of the prescription drugs and stuff to manipulate people and people will gonna be mindless zombies for
Mhm.
and stuff. So, yeah, so definitely some social commentary going on there, but it, in kind of a more light, fun way. But yeah,
Be sure you text me any links where I can post in the comment section if people can look at your photography at all.
yeah.
And I
Send you a
know,
link.
I know you've put out, you've turned some of them into coloring pages,
Yeah,
which honestly is like a big thing for adults
yeah, that was a lot of
right
fun.
now. There's just a really big online like coloring community and people making cool coloring books. And even just the coloring markers are better nowadays too. So
Yeah, yeah, it was kind of fun.
yeah, that's a
We had
cool
a
thing to do.
aunt who was kind of an artist, but was disabled later in life some, and she got more into just coloring books and that kind of stuff. And it's kind of turned a bunch of my photos into kind of black and white line art that would make cool coloring pages like that. The latest thing I found is a company that will turn your photos into like puzzles. Like, got a few of those printed out and given away as Christmas presents to people and stuff. But they actually turned out pretty cool. Some of the
Yeah.
wildlife and some of the landscapes all made pretty cool puzzles. But I tried to do one out of one of this like astrophotography starscapes, though that was a little too devilishly hard. To do a puzzle where it's just black with dots everywhere.
Right.
Oh yeah, that would be hard.
For people who want to challenge, though, that might be a good one.
Well, yeah, those coloring pages are so satisfying to just sit down
Yeah.
and just take some time and do.
Yeah, it can be kind of cool.
Yeah.
They actually found a way in Photoshop that it'll like take your photo and like turn it into line art basically with just a few like clicks and sliders and stuff. So it's kind of a neat way to turn a full color photograph into something that you could make a coloring page out of or something. And yeah, it's been kind of fun.
Well, look,
Yeah,
we got Eitri off camera here. Do you got a question? Considering
Actually, nah. I think you guys covered a lot of ground, man.
okay, well,
Is there a way for anyone to do you send out the movie to people that request it even though it's not streaming at all?
At this point, we're trying to kind of keep it under wraps because a lot of
Okay.
the streaming companies want to have like first dibs on it. If it's out
Mhm.
publicly, they won't pick it up anymore, kind of thing. So we want to try to explore our options for whether we can actually get a deal on.
So there you go, y'all. It's exclusive. You can't see it yet.
But
You can only
yeah,
hear about it on the show.
we're kind of in that process right now, though, of looking into like some agents and stuff that might be able to rep it to some of the different streaming services, and that's probably been one of the more challenging sides of working on this is figuring out the distribution aspect of it because it seems like every few months the whole industry just changes on how it's organized and how you're supposed to get your stuff to the platforms that'll show it and things like that. Like, maybe 5 years ago, most of them would take just random submissions from the public and like they'd look at them, and if they thought it was good enough, they'd put you on. But it seems like anymore, none of the bigger platforms do that. They'll go through agents that kind of pre-screen them and make sure they meet their quality control standards and stuff like that, and then they'll market the ones that they think are good enough to Netflix or Amazon or different companies. But so that's kind of what we're going through now is showing it to some different agents and aggregators, they'll call them, and yeah, see if somebody wants to actually promote it to different streaming platforms. Yeah, we're hoping we might be able to get it on like Tubi or Amazon or something like that eventually, but yeah, probably going to be like summer or so before we're actually ready to release it.
It's closer than we think.
But yeah, it'll go quick. And now, if anything, we'll put it on YouTube or something. But we don't get it on any of those bigger platforms. But yeah, we're hoping we can get it on like Tubi or Amazon or something like that. There's a few of them that are a little more friendly towards like independent films and stuff. And I could see it on some of them at least. So I guess we'll find out though. Yeah,
Well,
and might try and do some more like film festivals or get it in some local festival or something like that, or maybe even just rent out a few more theaters and show it publicly. But we need to figure out what kind of restrictions there are on whatever platform we're trying to get it on for streaming first, and make sure we're not going to break some kind of agreement with them if we show it publicly somewhere else. So, yeah, a lot of paperwork and details to all of that, but yeah, we're hoping in a few months that we can have it out there where anybody can go watch it online. Be the goal. Yeah, I definitely want to get it out there and get as many people to see it as possible.
I got one more thing. You look like you know some good hiking spots. Name drop a good hiking spot or a good hike for our folks out there.
Well, there's so many around the area, it's hard to pick one, but I think one of my favorite areas to go fairly locally is kind of the Clay Elm area. Like there's a river that runs through there, the Salmon Lasac, I think, something like that. Yeah, it's a pretty easy spot to drive out to, but then there's all sorts of like hiking trails and kind of off-grid campsites and stuff, and some more like full registered kind of campsites too. But there's a lot of places you can just kind of find a spot by the river and pitch up a tent and not have to worry about reserving a spot or anything like that. They don't have any facilities or anything really, but I kind of like just be able to go out and yeah, find a spot to camp. There's a yeah, I like to go down kind of the Eastern Oregon area a lot too. My grandpa used to live down there in the Hells Canyon area. It's kind of on the border of Oregon and Idaho. It's like one of my favorite places to go. It's kind of far from here, maybe a 6 or 7 hour drive to get over there, but we'll go over there and spend a weekend camping or a long week or something, got some vacation time, and just kind of go all over to different areas. I like that region so much because there's so many different types of landscapes you can get to. There's like Hells Canyon itself, which is this kind of really cool rugged canyon landscape. It's kind of like the Grand Canyon. Then there's like mountainous areas right by there too. If you want to go hiking through the mountains or get good like viewscapes of waterfalls or mountain peaks, there's a lot of cool options there. There's all sorts of like small mountain lakes and stuff you can go to and cool stuff. But I think one of my favorite things about that region though is it's one of the darkest places in the country. So like as far as there not being light pollution at night. So if we're going and taking pictures of the stars and stuff, it's one of the best places you can go. Just it blows my mind every time I go there after it's been a few years, and you can see the stars in a truly dark sky compared to being in the city and being around all the light pollution where you can't see anything but the brightest stars. It always blows my mind just how many are up there when you get somewhere that's truly dark. And the kind of pictures you can get when it's really dark like that are just amazing.
It really is amazing, y'all. I hope there's a link that we post because Budaho's star photography, like Wicked saying, it really is like truly memorable. It'll imprint on you. So keep it up, man. We're watching. We enjoy that.
Yeah, especially as folks that are in the city. Like, even just to go from the city to the farm, which is, it's still light pollution. It's far from what he's talking about in Eastern Oregon where there's no light pollution. But even to go from city to halfway light pollution, you're seeing a whole different sky. So to go to what he's talking about, where there's no light pollution, you probably feel like you're sitting in space.
Yeah, just about.
It looks, yeah, it's a good way to
Like
put it.
a lot of the photography that I do with the night sky, you're kind of there's a lot of setup where you're getting the camera kind of oriented and pointed right and setting it up on like a tracker sometimes that'll follow the movement of the sky throughout the night. But once it's set up, you kind of just leave the camera running for an hour or so, just capturing light. But I'll just lay there on a camping chair while the camera does its thing and just stare up at the stars for an hour or two. It's so gorgeous, and there's so many of them. Like I could just lay there all night, a pair of binoculars, and look around at stuff and not get bored. And yeah, definitely fun. Sometimes it can be kind of spooky though. I'll be out there by myself a lot of times. And, like I'll hear some like tree branch snap or something, the dark woods behind me.
Yeah, you don't want to watch S86 and then go take star photography pictures of yourself.
Always be sure to have some bear spray on me or that kind of thing. Just in case.
You can't combine those two activities.
I think when you're camping normally, you're usually like around a campfire and you're usually with other people and you're talking and stuff. And
Yeah.
most wildlife's smart enough it'll avoid people by a few miles and go around you and stuff. But when I'm out there taking pictures, I'm usually just sitting there by myself and like dead quiet and don't usually have a campfire or anything. So it's dark and you never know, bear could wander by or a cougar or who knows. But usually it's just a deer or something when I hear some random noise. But yeah, it always kind of makes you jump and like look around and be careful. Sometimes I'll just play some music or something on my phone while I'm sitting out there, just so things do kind of know I'm there and won't take a large radius around me.
Yeah, let them know.
Well, look, I promised I wanted to make sure we were cognizant of the time. We just crossed 5:50. So,
Okay.
do you,
I can probably go another 10 minutes or so if you guys got any more questions, but
okay, well, High Rise, May, you guys have any additional questions?
Well,
we
sure.
got 10 more minutes.
I could think of you know, I mean, I know, you know, this is primarily a hip hop based show, but a lot of people, videographers, I think, have the desire to transition into filmmaking. Probably not everybody behind a camera just wants to live and die shooting hip hop videos, but you know that jump, that transition's so much easier said than done. I can only really think of a handful of people that have really even done it, even on a national scale. But you know, you pulled it off, and I would assume the videography work and the photography work and the beat making that hip hop element that you had probably strengthens your cinematography and your filmmaking, and you know, maybe just talk about crossing over into that realm and some of the hip hop sort of influences that you took with you that were well received or appreciated in the movie making world, or maybe they weren't. Maybe they were frowned upon. I do not know.
No, I think you're right. There's definitely a lot of crossover there. There's like the skills are all pretty directly applicable, I think. And I think to some extent, working on music videos and stuff like that a lot more, and documentary kind of stuff, both kind of played into and helped my work as a cinematographer and a more like narrative fictional piece. Like, I think because music videos, there is no like narrative to it really, or it's blended into the music if there is. It's more of like a visual medium of kind of telling the story. Like you've got to think a lot more about how you're going to tell the story just with like the visual element, where in a movie you've kind of always got that crutch of the dialogue and stuff that can tell the story, and like you don't have to rely on the visuals to tell the story quite as much. But I think good cinematography does have just as strong visual storytelling as the audio is. So having kind of to rely on the visual side of things more working on music videos kind of teaches that skill set a little bit of making sure you're telling the story visually as well as through the audio. And I think the journalism side of the videography and documentary side plays into that too, some where like those are both more kind of reactive, where like you're not crafting the story and the visuals yourself, you're kind of documenting what's happening live, but you still have to kind of make the visuals interesting, like, and explanatory. But so in the same way, you're almost on the fly, having to think about always making sure the video's telling the story you want, like, even though you don't have control over what's happening in the journalistic side of things, you're having to react to what's happening around you, but still kind of think about like kind of live showing it in a visual way that tells what's happening more in like a accurate way, I guess, for journalism or documentary side. You're not trying to manipulate as much, or like you're more trying to show what's actually happening and that kind of stuff, but you're still trying to have to think about how the visual is telling the story and doing it kind of live on the fly. So I feel like that kind of helps too on the narrative side of things, where you're you still have to kind of react to things as they happen. Nothing goes quite as you plan it all the time. So even when you do plan out every element, you have to kind of react and fix things as you're going through it on set. And I think the ability to do things where you have no control over what's happening kind of helps you react to that more and fix problems and just trains your eye to see things naturally as you're working on it. I guess that makes sense. But then I guess as far as like making the transition between the two styles and working on like more of a movie instead of those kind of short form styles like in a music video more, that probably was the biggest challenge. Like I think everyone who does videography might have that itch a little bit of like wondering what it'd be like to work on a movie or something like that, but it's such a big project to bite off and try to work on. It can be kind of intimidating, and I think that's probably the hardest part. It's not like if you've done a lot of videography before, you probably do have the skills, but making the decision to actually dive in and work on something bigger scope like that can be intimidating and hard to do. I think the trip for me, I think, was having a team of people that wanted to work on it with. I would have jumped into this and tried to do it all on my own. It's just too much and too intimidating. But having a group, kind of core group of people who are interested and dedicated to it enough to see it through is probably the biggest thing to it, I think. So I'd say that's probably, if somebody is interested and has that itch but has never tried to do it, I think that'd be my advice, would be find some like-minded people to collaborate with and work on it together. You'll all keep each other motivated. It's hard to stay motivated on something that big when you're by yourself, but when you got a team of people that are all kind of in it together, one person might start to lose interest a little bit, but then the rest of the team will kind of keep them on track and keep everybody interested and keep everybody motivated. And you always don't want to let your other team members down. So even when you're feeling worn out or burned out, you kind of keep working at it to not let the team down, kind of thing. So I think finding a core group of like-minded people to work on a big project like that with is probably the key thing that helped us get through it.
Well, shoot, I don't have any details, so I know I can't spoil alert anything, but I know AWOL just did get hooked up again with y'all, or with that company, for another role in the newer production and movie.
Oh yeah, we're just starting to
get
some pre-production planning on our next.
We're going to be able to do this again and go to another premiere and have some more fun, and you know, you're one of the earliest collaborators with Build and Destroy, and me and Wicked, and We consider you family. And so, man, you know what I'm saying? We'll see you again.
Appreciate it. Yeah, thanks for having me on. It was fun to talk about it all. Yeah, when we get some more updates, I can maybe when we get closer to actually getting on streaming or something, I can give you guys an update or something like that.
Yeah, and like if people are listening and want to be involved in local movie production in terms of either acting or producing, is your company somebody they can like email and talk to about opportunities and stuff?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, if you look us up online, we're just 5J Films, like the numeral 5, letter J, films.com.
Because that's pretty good, cool. I mean, like people want to start making hip hop music, they can just make it and put it out, but it's harder to do that with.
Yeah, you kind of need a group to collaborate with, I think.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Hit Rutherford up. He's another JR. You're another JR like me.
Yeah, we're always.
Did you ever go by JR?
It's such a group effort on this kind of project. We always need more people who are interested in collaborating and getting some experience. And yeah, the only way to really learn it is to do it too. So anybody who's interested but hasn't really tried it before, like, yeah, either with us or just finding some group that you can get out there and spend a day on set or something. Pretty much every local producer is pretty happy to take anybody who wants to volunteer, even if you can't do anything but hold a boom mic or something, like, or move lights around where somebody tells you to. Like, you don't have to be an expert or know exactly what you're doing. You'll figure that out as you go. Say the biggest thing is just getting out there and doing it. And yeah, there's tons of local production companies that are working on like short independent films in the area. So yeah, and especially like short films where it might only be a couple of days of shooting or something, and you can see the results in a few months. That can be a great way to get into it. Where like this feature film was a couple of years running from when we started shooting it to when we finally got it out. It can be a little daunting sometimes and hard to see the light at the end of the tunnel on something that big, but I think short films are a great way to start, just because it's not as much of a dedication to get into it at the start, and you can see the results of it a lot sooner. And like, yeah, I'd say get on like some of the local filmmaking groups on Facebook, and you'll find tons of people putting out casting calls or requests for crew or that kind of thing for their latest shoot that's coming up.
Okay.
Just start messaging people, and you can usually find a bunch of people who would be happy to work with you. But if you wanted to work with us particularly, definitely look us up at 5J Films. We are starting to work on our next project. It's going to be a little more of like a sci-fi short film. And I think probably the next month or so, we might start doing our first casting calls for actors and crew and stuff. So,
what was the name of the MC that you used to work with a lot, like back in the 253hiphop.com days? It was like you and one other cat.
J-Mob. Justin?
Yeah, that's what it was. That's the other question I wanted to ask you.
Yeah, we've actually been working on some new songs recently with him too.
Oh, heck yeah. That's good to hear.
Yeah, maybe in next year or so we might have a new EP to put out or something.
Holler at us.
We got 3 or 4 songs we were recording a few months ago.
Save us a verse, man.
We're working with another local MC.
Save us a verse.
You ever heard of Rocka?
Yeah.
A local MC. I've been working on recording with him a lot recently too. We actually
yeah.
Yeah.
Save us some space up in there.
Yeah.
All right.
Make sure you come back, Jay. Make sure you come back, Budaho.
Yeah, it's great talking to you guys.
You too, man. We love you.
Hell yeah. I'm gonna be tapping in for this next film. If I gotta be an extra.
Yeah, look forward to talking to you guys again. And yeah, if you got some ideas for a script or something on a project you're thinking of too, hit me up. We should talk more on that.
Heck yeah. Heck yeah.
Offer some tips on developing the script and stuff too, and ways that make it easier to work with and stuff. But
I'll send you this link for the show afterwards too soon.
Okay. Well, look,
awesome.
We getting into the halftime break, you guys, and for this one, we're gonna go straight to the source. We're gonna hop in with the Famulation video. Really, that's a short film in itself because it's over 7 minutes long. And then we're going to follow up with the Wisdom Insane Man video so you can see the Retherford work in action. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Let me see, make sure this is working properly here. Hit that famulation.
I haven't thought about the wisdom.
You want to make the perfect cupcake? I'll tell you how. Add just a wicked, A1, wise like the sunrise. Yo, fuck the police. The police bust caps here, there, freaking everywhere. Let's feed the ducks with some bread. Nah, let's feed them with some lead. Amen to that. Yeah, I just said that. In our town, the sky is red. It's raining and thunder and lightning 24/7. That's not just war to me. That's war to this whole entire country. The Illuminati side is the devil's side. The devil's main man is the man walking with one foot in the grave. You've got a choice. E-fly out.
Yeah. Build and destroy, hilltop Tacoma. It's wicked meticulous, y'all motherfuckers been sleeping on us since the beginning. We started this a long time ago, but we ain't stopping. Motherfuckers thought we couldn't do it again, but here it goes. No blood relation, still famulation. Love forms the whole basis of famulation. If you run into some trouble, call famulation. Everything is all famulation. No blood relation, still famulation. Love forms the whole basis of famulation. If you run into some trouble, call famulation. Everything is all famulation.
In the midst of never forgetting love, but neglect what it was. Dialectic, diuretic, y'all busy rhyming for credit, but wrong reasons did it. Wow, what an exceptional lettuce. The headspace is larger than said grace. Parentheses with the emphasis on let landscapes till they sick of me. Rendering many reasons for dealing energy over the beats, brought to you by the syllable slickery. Phantom mysteries, subjective matter for centuries. Neglect the chatter or I'll batter them viciously. Influential epiphanies to the 10th degree. It's the pimping of the massive sentences, this is key. I shouldn't have to defend what I've actually been. The past pretends I wasn't getting it in. Broke the trend of the bar graph with unprecedented bar class. The science isn't far from my craft.
No blood relation, still famulation. Love forms the whole basis of famulation. If you run into some trouble, call famulation. Everything is all famulation. No blood relation, still famulation. Love forms the whole basis of famulation. If you run into some trouble, call famulation. Everything is all famulation.
I eat with the hyenas, fly with the eagles, ride with the riders, talk peace with all my peoples, allergic to evil. I am meaty like seagull, deaf like rose, full gangbangers in a regal, driving illegal with no tats and insurance, endurance for 1,000,000 rattlesnakes. I walk with the purest, black nuns, all black guns and stay loaded. I deal with a bunch of goons that speak decoded, fuck the POTUS. We walk with tigers and dragons, I'm dragging a wagon of enemy eyes and laughing. King Jackson, tack master, black bastard, I elevate like UFOs, fuck if you rap faster, I rap solid, no college but got degrees, chopping niggas up like soft sausage with no cheese. Word to mama, I got the omelets, I hope you hungry. Bloody Sunday turning to Black Monday.
No blood relation, still famulation. Love forms the whole basis of famulation. If you run into some trouble, call famulation. Everything is all famulation. No blood relation, still famulation. Love forms the whole basis of famulation. If you run into some trouble, call famulation. Everything is all famulation.
Chilling like a villain, but I'd rather be a hero. You won't find no cape on me though. There's two types of people, Craigs and Debo. We the squad, major league, call us A-team though. Soldiers of fortune for the fam, I'm so with the nonsense. Dodging the dumb down, the bullshit is constant. I can count my real ones on one hand. And we've been making records since before one fam. One shot, one kill, hold the gun, don't jam. Super God talk, words ring through the land. Don Jimmy the GOAT, you see the kicks? That was overheads like a field goal miss. Left brain, right brain, you can say I'm mixed. Tax City arsonist with the spits. On or off land, I cut throats like pirates. May Dolly probably got another 100 bars that fit.
Doing a documentary about ashy niggas, bro. On the stars.
Don't break on me, Don James. I'm not breaking on you. As soon as you walk into work, you get a raise.
Your ankles are sweating, that's all.
Okay, they are. As soon as you walk into work, you're getting a 10-cent raise for having a cut. His boss is looking for 2 weeks. Hey, you've been on camera standing there asking people, have you been sick? Had any fever for the last 2 weeks of COVID? And people are like, nah, this nigga take his mask off and smell him. Smell him. And that's the only way they can get into the casino. Don J, smell him. You got to smell him, nigga? Yeah, they good. They good, boss. They good.
You kin to me, my enemy, your enemy. Sisters, brothers from another mother, L-O-V-E. The little that I got, you know it's all yours. Your kids and your nieces, my nephews for sure. If I'm down and out, I know you help me out. Put me back on my feet, help me out, no doubt. Facts, that's how family do. Facts, vice versa, I'll do the same for you. Haters mean mugging, haters stay bugging. We hugging, showing love, keep it at 100. Positive vibes, you better know the times. Clock's ticking, we all gotta die. So enjoy each other company, forever tatted on my flesh. B-A-D. Remember, it gotta take a village. We understand that my squad is the realest.
No blood relation, still famulation. Love forms the whole basis of famulation. If you run into some trouble, call famulation. Everything is all famulation. No blood relation, still famulation. Love forms the whole basis of famulation. If you run into some trouble, call famulation. Everything is all famulation.
I'm out, say tongue with the tongue. Talk vibranium. What's understood doesn't need to be said. Arm, leg, arm, head, arm length aimed at your head. Fill up your thoughts with lead. A wizard magic, I cast a spell. I never tell. I'd rather sit in my cell. Freedom never for sale. I'd rather sit on my bell. My toxin is toxin. I'm awesome when I sauce him. I'm Johnny Cochran, William Van Spronson, Osama Bin Laden when I'm rocking. Bless you, nephew, and peace, my niece. I'm Hamdu Allah, grandmama. Pop that collar, grandpapa. All the ratas get the ratata. I shock your chakra. I'm a soldier with the soul of Jah. Bombing ya from Andromeda. I Baruch Ataya while wearing a black baklava. Eating baklava on the block, bucking ya.
No blood relation, still famulation. Love forms the whole basis of famulation. If you run into some trouble, call famulation. Everything is all famulation. No blood relation, still famulation. Love forms the whole basis of famulation. If you run into some trouble, call famulation.
We're substitutions and fake imitations. There's no obligations. Vibe moves, get felt relations. Connect formulation. Explore my talents since I first heard Mr. Magic Grover Washington. And now I'm in the lab every day like what's the poppin'? Feeling like my pops again till I start thinking like his son. Visions of my uncle pop in my head. We need to finish what we begun. Bugs get fed the lamb's bread when I quarterback Jimmy Plunkett on the tip of a coin flip. Front row scout ticket, fuck a guest list. I meditate with a zone of that wedding cake. Garlic cookie scent, mushroom, onion taste. When the cherry of this roller resonate. Feeling older from these body aches. Probably body this in one take and probably ain't gonna make the tape. Oh, great.
All right, we're going to see if this transition works properly to our second offering of the day.
Oh, no.
Come on, I'm not spam.
Somehow they got the momentum back.
Come on, verify. There we go. And play.
Was taunting.
Yes, I used to have hair.
Thing that really.
Interconnectedness, yes, the essence and spirit of the dead exists in the present tense. So go ahead and beat your head against religious texts and scripts for evidence. Searching everywhere except within soul. You never find the true meaning of human existence, and you just think existential. Clues like sketch with pencil etched in stone. Deoxyribonucleic acid codes. Word to Mother Nature. Disrespect to the planet is gonna be our omega. Manage to save a minute, diverse slice of the population. Call the women, pray for your conversation. With a being that'll be your God's fucking face. But you a part of me, so wisdom is amen. You a part of me, so wisdom is amen. You a part of me, so wisdom is amen. You a part of me, so wisdom is amen. Wisdom is amen. You a part of me, so wisdom is amen. You a part of boy God Boss King. When I die, bury me in a pyramid, please. But make sure you preserve my skin and use it to build a statue of me like taxidermy. Then encase that in the most futuristic spaceship strip glass, and I'll last through the next 3.5 more calendars. My brains been scrambled eggs since Mike Tyson, Bruce Seldon fighting Las Vegas. So who the fuck you think I pray to? Human evolution refers to the way we save our own anuses. Homo sapiens mutate to break dance. But you a part of me, so wisdom and save man. You a part of me, so wisdom and save man. You a part of me, so wisdom and save man. You a part of me, so wisdom and save man. Wisdom and save man. You a part of me, so wisdom and save man. You a part of me, so wisdom and save man. You a part of me, so wisdom and save man. Wisdom and save man.
There's science and geometry. Watch me use it to dismantle white supremacy. Obama's press, but Trayvon still can't wear a black hoodie. They stick like Ted Bundy, like Jeffrey Dahmer. My third ocular work out math like a protractor. Listen, my mission is to put a crack in the system when I spit the algorithm over rhythm. You are now witnessing the true and living. Of course you must beware and behold the pale horse. However, I'm much more like a pale fox with my hip hop talks. Did you catch that fact? Or is it over your head so long, so gone? If you don't study the doggone word is born. Can never stress that enough in my song. And the devil's in the details. Sending virus through your emails. Now you inflicted with the plague. Sick shit, word inflection written on the page. I build it up, break it down, plus a minus in my sound. I build and destroy every time I third eye look around. Too much gentrification in my town, so my hilltop brethren preserve the sacred sound. I don't care about your biz. You witnessing to all that is. We got that new shiz.
Wisdom and save man. 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 Wisdom and save man.
Co-makerisms. That's what we call the code makerisms. Yes, we're back at it. The Build and Destroy show. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. It don't cost you nothing. Oh, my camera went out. Back in it. Let's see. Yes. And we got the background vocals from Papa Riceberg crib.
That was funny too the last time.
They're clearly watching the Seahawks dwindle their lead. Well, that was definitely overdue. You know, John, we had to reschedule him once or twice.
I bet they do.
We're gonna have to hit. We're gonna have to meet this guy if he's not talking to us.
Oh no!
What?
All right. Well, I got a bunch of topics that I got written down.
Witherspoon. Doesn't happen to him a lot.
Yeah, we got to hit the mute on him.
Yeah, I didn't have no topics. I wanted to give a little gold star shout out for music. That was it.
Well, let's start there.
Yeah, Rock Marciano dropped new project 656. He is a producer and an MC. He's been working with different producers, but he's back to self-producing for this latest effort. If you're into them really weird loops, obscure loops, it's really drumless. A lot of it's drumless, but good witty bars. It's like quiet luxury rap almost. It's just really good. It sounds good in the car. That style, some people believe like that style needs to leave or that it's fading, but this hip hop was founded on the loops, the good loops. It is up to you if you want to add the dirty drums to it later on, but a good loop is a good loop, man. And if you chopping up samples and you got something you can rock with, go with that feeling, man. Rock Marcy is one of those guys that actually ushered in that sound, period. Him and Ka out there in Brownsville, rest in peace to Ka. But yeah, this drumless hip hop, it deserves its space in the hip hop world. So I think if you're not into that sound or you really haven't got into that sound before, this would be a good one to jump in to get that sound of drumless hip hop, but still it's hard.
I hate that term.
Me too.
Sound like some white people made up. When I mean white people, I ain't talking about like actual white people, but just the media. Because when you think about it, all those loops or whatever, I don't even like to call them loops, man. It's just a beat, but they still got drums on them. It's just not added drums. So don't call it drumless production. Call it unadded drum. If you're gonna say this shit right, if you're gonna make some critical, names to judge and lump different groups or genres of music, get the names right, media. But I blame the media.
Nah, E-Tree's right, man. Listen close. There's drums in them
samples. Only like these YouTube producers that review NPCs on YouTube and don't really make beats. They just make beats to show you what equipment to buy. I don't consider those dudes beat makers. Those dudes are just enthusiasts that play with NPCs online. And they call this shit drumless. But guys like us, like you, legends like you don't call. You've been making beats like that forever, and they still got drums in there. If it's really drumless, that would just be some strings with nothing. But a lot of these, because I heard that Rock Marciano album, that shit is dope as fuck. All the songs got drums on them. They just come
he
with
just
the
didn't filter. They got drums. You, as a producer, you could choose if you want to filter them drums to make them at the forefront.
But they're all there. They don't take them out. That's what I'm saying. Like, that's just a crazy way to call. I hate that the media calls it that.
Mm-hmm.
It hurts me. It triggers me.
Kev Brown don't like that shit either.
It's triggering, bro. Because it's like, man, we done came too hard, man, to have media just, they do this shit to all our shit, man. They take it apart and call it what they want to. And the next thing you know, they're going to be using it to sell McDonald's.
Yo. And E-Tree's right, man. These loops, like, we're chopping it into a loop. It don't start off sounding like that. You got to chop it and do your little nip tuck stuff to make it into a loop.
Now, I know that everybody doesn't listen to a lot of West Coast artists, but to me, one of the innovators of bringing back just straight up loops has been these dudes, London Drugs, Jay Worthy, LA. If you listen to his music, man, he'll just he'll find the obscure loops that, man, they're crazy, but it's kind of like
needle drop stuff,
yeah,
right?
You gotta listen to his shit. I don't know if you guys listen to Jay Worthy, man, but his shit is unbelievable, man, because he's been consistent with it. You're never really gonna hear him on fully produced, not on fully programmed beats. His beats are just gonna be like what you were just talking about, like that Rock Marciano style. And his producer, I think his name is Sean House. He's pretty much the guy that all. But if you get a chance, man, check him out. Because he's kind of like the West Coast counterpart to Rock Marciano. And he's actually signed to Griselda. Well, he's not really, he's independent, but he's got a deal with Griselda. He's working on a project with Griselda. He's part of their crew as well.
Yeah, and anybody that hasn't seen it, go to that Q-Tip video on YouTube where he's just needle dropping.
Oh, yeah, that's just phenomenal, man. That shit is
yo,
crazy.
like, we don't even need the beat machine.
Well, we've talked about this before, the pause tapes, man. If you really been doing this shit before you had the samplers, you was doing pause tapes.
Mm-hmm.
So, but he took it, just like you said, he took it to a whole nother level. I also seen a video of these dudes from Japan that were doing tape. They were using, tape machines. They had 4 tape machines, and each person would use a tape machine to, not only make loops, but scratch on the tape machines. It was pretty crazy.
Wow.
I think I seen that. The tape machine scratch.
Yeah, it was 4 dudes with the old school library tape machines. Pretty crazy, man.
Well, what you guys got to say about the World Economic Forum?
You got to fill me in.
Fill me in, too.
Well, it's a meeting that they have every year in Davos, Switzerland, with the powerful elites and heads of states and folks, and they meet to discuss the future of the world.
Is that the one that we chose not to attend, or is that something else?
That's probably something else, because we was definitely at the World Economic Forum.
Okay.
We was up in there deep, as far as America goes. But this is the same. This is the group or organization that coined the phrase "you will own nothing and be happy."
Damn.
Yeah, they're part of the same group that, promotes Bill Gates's ideology of encouraging the poor people to eat insects and leave the produce and food and farm for the rich folks. So essentially, yeah, they're the group behind planning dystopian futures for the regular folks, like Soylent Green.
Damn, they trying to ban farming. That's crazy.
So yeah, this year it just ended, or it was last week. And yeah, we pulled up. Trump and his folks, his crew, went up in there mashing on everybody, which he's been doing across the world. Like at this point, I don't know why anyone thinks America is their friend. Like, but one of the a few of the things that came out kind of either in these meetings or around them. One is this mention of a company or one of the governments. I think the European Union's finance ministry put out a memo about them needing to get Bitcoin, but only if America announces aliens. Not kidding. This is a memo that their finance ministry that controls the banks and shit that said we need to look into Bitcoin in the event that America says aliens are real. So that was just one thing. The other two things is really goes off of what we talked about with Dr. Jaleesa Trapp in the AI field. So there's two different softwares. There's Paragon, which is a company out of Israel that creates mobile phone hacking tools. So essentially, the things that we was talking about or predicting out of the whole Stingray case is what can they access when they are using that device to get into your phone. Well, now they don't need that Stingray. They have this software that they can hack into your phone, see all your messages. They can generate calls. They can probably manipulate your phone data, like your call logs, make it look like you called people that you didn't, manipulate your texts, make it look like you were texting people that you weren't, probably manipulate your map data to make it look like you went somewhere that you didn't. But this is technology that is being implemented. Again, it's the company is called Paragon, and the United States is going to be rolling this out from the top level government and rolling it out to the local departments like they do with all of their military equipment. So that's one. And then the Palantir ELITE. It's called ELITE, which is a mapping software. Essentially, they're moving to a state of implementing predictive policing, which is arresting you before anything's happened, like the movie Minority Report. So this is right now, they're testing it in certain places in America right now. Predictive policing, arresting people. They're using social media posts, your map data, and they're generating profiles of people that they think that should be arrested before they do something. So, I mean, I guess not necessarily a question that I have to pose, but what are your thoughts on the direction and how fast this stuff is turning around? Because we talked about this shit before and how fast it's actually coming to reality.
Yeah, to me, it's confirming what the leading minds on the subject were saying in the beginning. They said it's going to be at an accelerated pace, and that humankind, we're still not even I guess as a large population, we don't even understand fully what it is. We're still thinking that it's just used to make cool pictures and stuff like that. But the ones that are listening to the world leaders on this subject, they've been said that this is going to happen. So my thoughts on it are just that, damn, they were right. They called it exactly right. And when they looked really worrisome in the face during those interviews, that wasn't acting. Like, that was genuine sadness based off what those men knew. And as heavy as those interviews were, they probably still didn't say everything, you know? That was probably like the baby food version of that stuff that they were giving us. And even that was heavy to take in.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like time is definitely, well, time is moving the same, but things are moving faster than I think our brains are really used to accepting. You know, I think Hollywood has done a good job at pre-programming us for certain things. Shit, there's a straight 10-year run on zombie shit. Like, they was prepping us for the zombie apocalypse, which, I mean,
we see them.
Another thing too is that as the people, you might have individuals that are, liberated with resources and have, high financial standings, but when these higher ups, when these groups of empowerment that are oppressing, they're ultra rich, and they move with everybody. They have the money to make these things happen fast, and that's the thing. We don't. Our realities move slower because everything's on consignment, or I'll get you next week, or I gotta wait till I'm saving up. Where they have the money, so policy is now just reflected. If you can bank it, it's not even about the waiting for everybody to get on board. So it's just like everything is happening because the bills are literally being passed from hand to hand, and just keeping that economy flowing, but still putting things in power so quickly. I mean, you can almost look at it to like how Hitler did it. It took him 5 months to do what he did, even like with in the slavery times. Like, there wasn't any the people in the power always they made things move, especially when they knew they could benefit off it. But no, it's crazy times, man. I mean, shit, we just had the shooting in Minnesota the other morning.
Yeah, yesterday.
Kind of different topic, but still the same, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Because that's one of the things that has been instituted and happened quickly. This new level of militia, they can just run up in your house and it's crazy.
Yeah, and imagine when it's the predictive policing. When they run up in your house and you ain't did shit.
Right.
Not they're looking for illegal immigrants or whatever. No, we just ran this fucking program and it said you're a bad person, so you're coming with us.
Right. You've been in favor of the immigrants, so you're coming with us. You're hiding them in your basement, so you're coming with us.
Yeah. I mean, it's scary times, and unfortunately, like you said, a lot has to do with means, people with money, you know, they can feel like they can run and hide from the problem. I remember the billionaire bunkers was a big thing like 3 years ago, like right before COVID happened. There was, you know, all the news articles about the billionaires buying up land in the middle of America, and building these fucking underground bunkers, which, I mean, that those stories don't disappear. The bunkers that they built, they probably did still build them and filled them up with all the supplies and everything that's needed. It's just when is the signal to run to the bunkers?
Right.
There's got to be a bat signal for all the billionaires to say, all right, go. Run to your bunker now.
And that thing you were saying about time moving so fast has probably already been signaled.
You said that was the World Economic Forum? They was at the meeting like, yo, this is the last of this meeting. You guys need to retire to your bunker. We're going to do the Zoom call next year.
Well, shit, some of those crazy things they were saying, you know, just the aliens for Bitcoin type of shit was, that just sound preposterous.
Look, I'm going to look it up now and read it. See if I can find it real fast.
Yeah.
Here we go. 6 days ago, Yahoo Finance. Okay, so it's ex Bank of England insider. Helen McCaw, former senior analyst of the Bank of England, is warning that official confirmation of extraterrestrial life could trigger financial chaos unlike any modern markets have seen. In her view, Bitcoin may emerge as a last resort refuge, even as traditional institutions crumble. McCaw, who worked in financial stability and risk at Bank of England until 2012, wrote directly to Governor Andrew Bailey. She urged the central bank to stress test for the unthinkable, verified intelligence behind UAPs. She predicts ontological shock could result, undermining the collective confidence in reality itself. And this could unleash extreme market volatility, bank runs, payment system failures, and even civil unrest, potentially within hours. So
within hours. That's the thing that hits right there.
And yeah, Polymarket shows at the time of this posting a week ago, potential 14% chance of the U.S. disclosing by the end of this year. So, yeah. I think the folks at the top realize there's a lot of possible things that can knock down the house of cards, and that's just happens to be one somewhat absurd reason. Not that all the governments around the world have been spending money that they don't got. That could destroy the market. Not that America's fucking turning back into the police of the world again, trying to running up on everyone's doorstep. Like, give me your Greenland.
Yeah.
What do you mean, give me your Greenland? Yeah, give me the whole thing. The whole Greenland.
The whole Greenland.
I'm coming for it. Yeah, none of that has to do with the world crumbling. It's aliens. Yeah, that was the only other. No, I did have one more topic. It was hip hop dancers, but I didn't have any specifications because this came up like 4 weeks ago, and I forgot the context that we was talking about it in, and it's just been on my notebook for 4 weeks.
That sound like some K Dusky shit.
Possibly. I was just thinking. I know it might have came up during DJ True Justice because he said he started out as a hip hop dancer, and I was just thinking. I guess one of the thoughts I had is the because we were talking in his interview about the DJ stuff dying out. I was just thinking about dancing and like, if I were just interested, where could I go and see breakdancing? And how often could I go? Is there like only one event a year in the Puget Sound for the, B-boy competition of the year? I tried to look the shit up. I couldn't find anything. So I was like, man, when we was talking about the DJing kind of fading out, I know dancers is still there, but like you have to be in the loop to know.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you get in the loop?
And it kind of went to a different culture too. Like the breakdancing is kind of performed less by like black and brown and more by other type of groups, as evident in the Olympics. You got that French, it's like, because in Europe, man, they kind of embrace, in Europe and other countries, they kind of embrace the corporate view of hip-hop where it's like graffiti, breakdancing, rapping. So you got to still do all that stuff. But whereas in America, it's just like we never really watched breakdancing. We did it. Think about when you was a kid. You wasn't watching other breakers. You was battling crews. So that's why it kind of disappeared, because we got more into the rapping. Like, everybody raps. But not many kids are growing up, especially urban. I hate urban is a bullshit word, but marginalized black and brown kids, they not growing like, I want to be a breaker. It's not something that, because it's not the 80s anymore, so you don't see that. But internationally, they still hold those 5 principles together. But I don't know. It's a weird time now. It's 2026, man. I mean, you got so many subcultures from, Japanese lowrider enthusiast to atheist to fucking Hebrew nationalist. There's so many different groups. The world is crazy now, man. It's just like we done lost the sight of how everything started out. So, but I feel what you mean. Like, there's probably that one thing that goes on every year. I'm not from this region, so I don't really know about it much, but I do know they had that thing in Seattle, right, that the Zulus would do, which is another weird organization, because it's like, are they aware that the dude might be a pedophile? Like, is Zulu still a thing? Is the pedophile shit Crush Zulu? Or just like the other groups just Zulu now? Because a lot of people is like, fuck, like, we ain't heard from Africa Bambaataa in a minute, right?
Yep.
Is he even part of Zulu? And then it's crazy to hear about that he was like, this is crazy that we got into this topic, but he was like kind of targeting like overseas victims as of lately. He originally started out like looking at the victims in the Bronx, in his neighborhood, but then he kind of, as Zulu Nation branched out, so did his appetites, allegedly, because we don't even know if this is true. He hasn't been charged with anything, but I mean, there's been so many people that came forward.
Yeah.
But yeah, that could be one of the reasons why your breaking isn't seen, the breakdancing scene, because it's just like all those platforms of hip hop have kind of dwindled as rap has become the highlight. So no, you made a good point, man. Where can you go see some breakdancing? And I'm just kind of not weirded out, but just fascinated that you want to see some breakdancing, because I never really thought of not saying there's anything wrong with it, but to me, breakdance was always something like you engage in. It wasn't something like you watch. Well, that I watched. So it's just a different thing now, where like you literally can just go watch a breakdancing performance. But when it started out, we was all breaking against each other. But yeah, man, I didn't want to go on a tangent, but
hey, shit. I have yet to complete one successful rotation on a windmill, and at this stage in my life, it's probably not gonna happen unless I really dedicate some time to it.
I feel like out of all of us, man, or people that I know, you probably could do it because you got the cartwheel action and used to do the gymnastic type shit. So it might be like a bag you haven't picked up that you probably could do, man.
Listen, man, I tried.
Oh, speaking of dancing, last night we saw some real dope dancing. There was a lot of people dancing that had some moves. And it weren't even like wipe. It was like other than just like, you know, the usual people to be dancing and stumbling around off beat, stepping on your feet. There was like some actual movers in there. It's kind of crazy.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up because I was going to close off before we gave a review of the event last night.
But the dancing, the dancing brought me back to it. That as soon as you said, where can I see some dancing? I thought about that young brother that had it with the blonde dyed hair. That like he was dancing. Everything he did was a movement, and it was expression. He was fluid. He was like gliding across the floor, like conversating with people, like during the music. He was hyping up the performers. You know what I mean? Like that shit was kind of dope, man.
This motherfucker was dancing for 5 hours.
For real.
So yeah, why don't you give your review of the show?
I mean, it was a dope performance, man. I mean, Shady B, I never really caught her work, listened to her stuff, but man, she just seemed like what somebody that enjoys doing this craft and is actually doing this stuff and didn't just start like last May or last April is actually, you know, propelled to go on to something. Like her music just has so much range. She just was in tune with her performance. She was really just feeling, you know, she felt what she was doing. And what I really thought was dope was at the beginning of her performance, she had a tarot reading or just like kind of a replay of the tarot reading that she actually had. And she had the person that gave her the reading on stage. And they kind of talked about it. And when you heard it, I didn't have any expectation of what her music was going to be. But then after I heard her performance and her music from this album, I was like, that tarot reading was right on. Because her music definitely was, you could just tell that she took some time to really look at herself and just pour it out into the sound. And it was hell of a show, man. I mean, really haven't seen anything from Olympia like that. It was pretty crazy. Now the other artists were, you know, part of the community. So, you know, what I do like about what Double B does is that he, you know, whatever level you're at, he encourages you and has you perform and stuff. So that was dope. But no, it was a nice little night out, man. You know, and it was just tight to see how they brought their energy and their type of vibe to Tacoma. That was almost like Olympia brought to Tacoma in that venue.
That's facts.
And there was even a little riffraff, like this young
like
woman beat up on a security guard. Like,
when I heard tarot cards, that sounded very Olympia.
Wait, what'd you say, May?
I said when you brought up tarot cards, that sounded very Olympia.
Well, yeah. What did you feel about it, Wicked?
Well, I think Shady B was good as this being her first, you know, album release and really big show. She definitely did a good job. It was a production element to it. The event was entirely too long. Every artist had, you know, their set list time was like they were all the headliner. It was like everyone had like 45 minutes of time. Like this is too much. Like it just felt like it was endless.
But it did complement the era we're in now where it's like, you know, let your freak flag fly and just, you know, do what you want. And take control of what you're doing. Whereas in the old days, it was like, hey, you got 2 minutes. You better get out there and do. We all seen the movies. You got 2 minutes. Yo, you better get out there and do what you got to do. Or you seen it in real life. Person goes out there and like that scene on Prince Purple Rain when he gets the chance to when he does that performance at the end and they like, who is this motherfucker? And he come out and make him cry. It's not like that nowadays. Nowadays they like, man, we're here. Welcome to my world. And hey, I got 15 songs and I'm gonna do them. It worked for some people. To me, I think what's her name, Shady B. It was dope for her because it was her album release party and you kind of sharing your project. So that was dope. And she had enough different things going on. But I do get what you meant. A lot of the rappers, it was like, what song is this? Because it was just like, you know, it wasn't very memorable. It was just like they went from the next thing. They didn't really interact with the crowd. Not to take your time away, but I did forget to mention Double B. He was a highlight because his performance was like in the vein of Shady B, like, you know, kind of more toned and more. And if you notice, he didn't do a lot of songs.
You're right.
He only did like 3 or 4, and he did quick versions of his songs too, like how most people do when you see him in a big lineup. Now, some of the other artists should have took hindsight in that, but like I said, I think it was just a representation of the good work that young Double B does in Olympia, where he's putting people on, and he's like, hey, come as you are, because like you said. Or like I said, they had some artists that they almost said they just started last April, and this was their first show ever.
No, he did say he
yeah.
did say I just started making music this April, or last April.
Yeah,
which is less than a year ago.
Wow.
Basically, he had to watch before he had the album. We can know what I'm talking about.
The costume jewelry aspect of everything was at another level.
In his defense, though, it was a show where it was a fashion show, and everybody was pretty much like, you know, dressed, you know, to their highest.
Everyone had a costume.
Yeah, a little something costumey, you know. Good time, though, otherwise. A little pricey on the drinks. If I went to that venue, I definitely would suggest getting drunk first before. Because it's wild. It's just like they just laughing at us. Like, come on, man, make it fun. That's why something new has to happen, like for shows where, like, maybe like renting multi-use rooms is the way, and you just provide your own alcohol. Because I don't even think you need to really get a liquor license for a one-night thing, right? My people always used to throw, even like grown-ups, adults I know would always throw little holiday parties at little centers, and they would always still have alcohol there. They didn't get a liquor license, so maybe we can get away from using like bars as venues just because they kind of tax our people, and that's why people don't come out.
They do. I think that's a good thought to dig deeper in, especially as we start, you know, trying to prep for some shows to gear up for the little mini tour. Right. Thinking about some alternative spots to be able to perform at, and that was one thing that venue is definitely it's a sizable venue and could fit a lot of people. But if you're not going to draw that many people, it doesn't make sense to be performing in a venue that large, because there's a lot of space. And it makes just the environment. I'd rather have 50 people in a smaller venue than 100 people in a too big venue to where it looks like there's only 20 people.
Intention is everything, because the magic the magic that happens is what you bring into it when you have your event. But something like that where it's too big of a place where, like, you know, you're charging arm and leg for things that don't even really matter or maybe they do play a matter, because the liquor is an important part of the nightlife. But it's like, it's got to be a different way around it, because it's kind of like, you know, not allowing everybody to engage in it. You already have to pay like what $10 to $25 for cover charges nowadays. So it's just like when you come in and you spend it, maybe they need to do like economical. But shit, the liquor that they had was like economical stuff, and it still was like out the ceiling. But you know, tariffs and taxes and all that other stuff, and just the inflation probably play more a part in that. And that's something we'll never be able to get around unless those solutions we talked about where you're just using other type of places.
Hey, hit us in the comments if you have any suggestions. Alternative locations.
So you hear those fireworks, what does that mean since we're live?
That means the Seahawks won. And we're going to go ahead and end the stream here.
Seahawks won, baby.
Make sure you guys tap in every Sunday. It don't matter if it's the goddamn Super Bowl. We will be here chopping it up, giving you our views on hip-hop. We'll have guests. And, yeah, we want you to tap in with us and keep the conversation going.
And a shout-out to the illustrious Budaho for coming through and sharing his insights and latest projects and visions.
Pasholioski. Well, tap in with us next week, folks. We out of here. Peace.